In The Razor's Edge, Bill Murray chose to play a serious dramatic role, that of a youth disillusioned by World War I and looking for the true meaning of life. I asked Bill Murray how this compared to the attitudes of today's youth.
Well, I think they'll probably, if they stick around long enough, they'll have a little war on their own, and they'll be able to have their own illusions shattered. For myself, and people I knew, the Vietnam War was the same experience. Even more interesting in a way in that we had a couple of years to get ready for it, and there it was. It's sort of this creeping war that nobody knew about, understood. And it really did polarize the country for a while, and all of a sudden it became a focal point of dissatisfaction about certain things, and there was a whole baby boom generation that grew up, and all of a sudden they wanted to be heard. And that was an interesting time to be in America, I think. And I think that this story sort of tells that story without, going to Haight-Ashbury or, showing the sort of, classic, photographs of that time. It is the same story.
But it has all that opulence and nostalgia that makes it so attractive. The interesting thing is that you and John Barham went off to the craziest places to write the script. You co-wrote the script together. Why in the world would you go into crowded bars and all the distracting actions when you could have been sitting in an air-conditioned hotel working out the action and the plot?
Well, the problem is you can't get a drink fast enough in a hotel. You gotta go through a room service. Well, we did it intentionally to make it as difficult as possible. We wanted the most difficult conditions possible to work. So we'd always have this experiment, this experience of what it was like to come back, not just to the work you had to do, but to yourself, so you remember something that you were trying to do. So we would go to the most difficult places with the most distractions, and it worked for us. We wrote a good script, and when we had difficult situations in India and France where people were speaking, in India people were speaking 4 languages at once and screaming and hollering, it was not so distracting. We were able to stay home.
The so-called lost generation went to Europe because at that time, after the First World War, they found it more culturally and intellectually stimulating. Now, you went over to Paris to shoot. Is that still true? Is Europe more stimulating than America at this time?
I think New York City and Miami are 2 of the most stimulating places I've ever been. I don't think you could ask for more than those 2. It's interesting to go there as an American. It's a foreign place, and it is beautiful, Paris. It's really spectacular. It's let's not kid around. It's a knockout, and the old parts, the new parts, are even more ugly than the ugly parts of America. And